May I request Mr. Govind Swarup to give the welcome address to Her Holiness Shri Mataji.
We are really blessed to have Shri Mataji today amongst us. And it is needless to mention that in whichever discipline we are working, stress is becoming one of the major factors in day-to-day life. And we will hear from Mataji today the ways and means of handling it, and we will get the benefit of her spiritual authority.
It's a great honor for me to be allowed this opportunity to say a few words to you about my own experience of Sahaja Yoga. And perhaps what I went through may be of some interest to the other members of the Indian Administrative Service in particular. I recall that very early in the 1970s, she began her spiritual movement, and she told me one day that by raising the kundalini of individuals, people could be transformed. And you know, being a bureaucrat, I took it with 2 pinches of salt. I said, how on earth can anyone transform human beings? Because I had no idea as what Kundalini was. But she told me, this is the inherent power in every individual which can be raised. And if it can be raised, then people get transformed. Now imagine me in a dilemma. I said, I don't know. I have never seen anyone transformed. I have worked very hard. I have been a good model, but I have not succeeded in transforming anybody. So honestly, I tell you, I didn't quite believe it in the beginning. Then she persisted. She went along by herself. I gave no support to her at that stage. Then I got transferred to London. I got elected to a job there in UN as Secretary General of Maritime Organization. And there something happened. I had taken up residence in Surrey, a little outside London. I used to commute. And we were together there, my wife and I. And one day, when I returned home at about 8:30 p.m., I went in and went to drawing room where usually she would wait for me. And there I saw a young man in his late 20s sitting on a sofa. He was a white-skinned person reading a newspaper. And I was a little amazed. I said, who is he? Why is he here? Anyway, but what bewildered me was the fact that he was wearing my clothes. So, but anyway, I retraced my steps, came back to her. She was in the kitchen. And I said, now, do I see really what I see? And she explained to me. Then she explained to me, she said she had gone to Piccadilly Circus. There she saw a young man lying more or less by the roadside, uncared for, apparently very sick. And so she said she went up to him and asked what the matter was. The young man said he was, there was no one to look after him. He was very sick, probably suffering from jaundice and a few other things, obviously under the influence of drug. But she felt somehow some compassion and said, okay, would you like to come with me? I can take care of you. And she asked him to hop into the car, which he did. And that's how he was brought to our house. I felt reassured that nothing had really gone wrong with me, that what I was seeing was true. But I tell you, I was very happy. I said, well, here's a person full of compassion. She is wanting to help a young man, and why not? It was at that point, at that stage. Then I began to see the miracle happening. She treated that young man with a great deal of care and affection and love and Sahaja Yoga. And the boy began to get transformed. He was addicted to drugs. He didn't want any drugs. His color changed. In about 3-4 weeks' time, he looked like a fine young man. And eventually we came to know that he was an educated person, an Australian, who was an engineer, who had run away from his house and country, taken to drugs in London, and was in a very bad way at that time. Now he stayed with us for about 2-3 months, but he became like a beautiful flower. And he was very anxious to get back to his parents in Australia. And we were very happy that this happened. And then I saw what Sahaja Yoga and what she had done to a young boy. After that, my bureaucratic questioning mind ceased to function in that way. I began to accept there's far more to it in the world than mere administrative capability. There's something more, there's something higher, something spiritual. The boy went back. Can you imagine the delight of the parents who got back their lost son? Now that was the first instance. And then I said, no, I have been wrong. I should have known better. But you know how it is. I mean, some of you who are member service would know, we never accept anything unless it is proved 3 times over. Well, then it began to unfold itself. People who were addicted to drugs till yesterday found that they did not have the urge to ask for drugs. People who were alcoholics, she never asked anyone to give up anything. She says, it's your life, but you don't give up drugs. Drugs get away from you. You don't give up alcohol. Alcohol goes away from you. You become a different person. Now, so I've seen many of that kind, a few in the beginning, and later on quite a number. And now, of course, there are thousands and thousands and thousands all over the world, in 80 countries. And it's amazing to see how they are becoming sort of a new class of human beings, motivated by nothing except what is ethical, what is right. They don't bother about themselves, they bother about others. And I must say, she never, I mentioned to her, she never says, give up this thing. She says, on the contrary, educate yourself, take a job, but do the job well. And wherever they are, they make a difference. So that is what Sahaja Yoga is doing. Now, how has it affected me? In the beginning, I was a very anxious person. Always wanting to be 5 minutes ahead of time or on time. If I'm slightly delayed, I'm a little jittery. You know how official life is. A lot of tensions. If you're in the United Nations, I'm dealing with 150 governments. And if you have to deal with the United States of America and Russia and China and what have you, it does mean a lot of strain and stress. But I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, after this experience of mine, I became a different person. And mind you, it was not as if I became careless, not at all. I was always punctual to the minute, but not with strain, not with stress. I did not feel as if I was under any great tension anywhere. You do your job and do your job as best as you can. And things turned out extremely well. So this is the message that I wanted to give my friends and colleagues. It is a matter of your wanting to achieve that much of transformation. If you are earnest about it, if you are sincere about it, as I was, I think it's possible to achieve that transformation, and nothing helps in fighting tension better than being transformed in this fashion. I have told you she doesn't want anyone to give up anything, but I want to do something more. She herself doesn't give up anything. She is a great spiritual leader, but she is also a very great wife, and a very great mother, and a very great grandmother, and now a very great great-grandmother, with 4 generations now. I tell you, I won't take too much of your time. I get carried away sometimes, but once she was in Australia, I was in London, and she rang up our cook from there saying, I hope you are preparing this vegetable for him and that vegetable for him. Now, she is a wife wherever she is, and she is a mother wherever she is. The lesson is, lead your life normally, but lead in a different way. when you get concerned about the world, a lot of compassion, concerned about your country, not only just your country, concerned about the world, she is building up a new human society. And I'm praising her. I'm not embarrassed. It doesn't matter, she's my wife. But I'm not praising her for nothing. I'm telling you what I've seen. And that is my experience. I hope you will have the same experience. Thank you very, very much.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. That's a very interesting subject that has been given to me to talk to you people. Because I've been always worried about the IAS, IPS, and other government servants. Very much worried. Because I have known the kind of life my husband was leading, and I used to think if these new people who have come to these services, to the government service, we have to tell them the dangers that are ahead of them. Because we don't know what is the subtle system within us which works. And in this subtle system, when we lead this kind of a very speedy, intensive life, it has a defect. It has a defect, you can see in the chart, they have shown the subtle system, which works it out. So we have a center here on the crossing of the optic duct. This center is very important because we react with this. We react to everything. By this reaction, we create a problem within ourselves. And this reaction comes to us because we do not know how to go beyond the mind. Every time we are looking at something, we react. We look at someone, we react. But we cannot just watch. We cannot be just the witness. If we could be the witness, it will not have any effect on us. But we cannot be. That's the trouble when this center is very active. We call it as Agya Chakra. Where the two optic nerves meet. At the crossing point, this center is placed.